This is Generation Stadia, giving you that daily dose of everything and anything cloud gaming related, and today I'm coming at you with some GeForce Now news. We actually have a lot to cover today because Nvidia just dropped info regarding 23 games coming to GeForce Now in this month of January. Now I do want to point out that more games may be added this month. It's all on a basis of a developer or publisher deciding to opt in. The ones we're about to discuss right now are just ones that are officially confirmed already on the way. So let's get right to it, beginning with Among Us Epic Game Store version. This was a title that was already on GeForce Now through Steam, but if you did happen to buy the game on the Epic Game Store, well, you can now use that version of the game as well. It's described as an online and local party game of teamwork and betrayal for 4 to 10 players in space. I doubt you need any more info than that. The game popped off in a really big way and it's all over the internet. So let's move on to the second game, which is Beholder. In this game, you're a state-installed landlord in a totalitarian country. You'll be placing listening devices, stealing and sneaking into your tenants' apartments, using what you uncover to report anyone capable of plotting against the state. You must, but will you? What will you decide? This isn't a game I've played myself, but I must admit the overall description of it actually sounds pretty interesting. An example given states that you can report the suspicious activities of a father but orphan his children, or you can withhold the details about his illegal activity and give him a chance to make things right. You even have the choice of blackmailing him to earn something for your own family. Obviously, all choices have consequences, and depending on how you play this out, your ending will be different, but just know that you deserve what you get. Now let's take a look at Car Mechanic Simulator 2015. I should note that the game's sequel, Car Mechanic Simulator 2018, is already available on GeForce Now. The game's description states the following: new cars, new tools, new options, more parts and much more fun in the next version of Car Mechanic Simulator. Take your wrench, create and expand your auto repair service empire. Car Mechanic Simulator 2015 will take you behind the scenes of daily routine in a car workshop. You'll have plenty to do in this game, from car repairs to workshop management and car auctions. Next, we're taking a look at Caves of Quud. This early access title is described as a science fantasy roguelike epic steeped in retro futurism, deep simulation, and swaths of sentient plants. Come inhabit an exotic world and chisel through layers of thousand-year-old civilizations. Now I know what most of you may be thinking about your first impressions of Caves of Quud, but hear me out, this game is currently sitting at over 3,000 reviews and is overwhelmingly positive on Steam. It's certainly a throwback game, and if you are at all interested in this style of game, I would highly recommend you check it out. Most of the reviews I read about it only had good things to say. It's supposed to be super in-depth with a ton of things for you to do. Can't say it's my style of game, but I'm sure plenty of people out there are gonna be happy that this one's arrived to GeForce Now. Now let's move over to the fifth game, and that's Code 2040. This title is supposed to launch sometime this month and it will show up on GeForce Now. That being said, I can't find too much information about it. The game itself doesn't have a Steam store page, but we do have this trailer. I did try and dig up as much information about the game to inform you all about it. From my understanding, it's a third-person shooter that's a battle royale. You play as a prisoner who has had this ring device attached to your neck that starts ticking down when you're out of a certain area. But as you can tell from the clip currently running, there's much more going on in this game than what I can explain. For now, let's take a look at the next title, which is Dicey Dungeons. It's described as a fast-paced deck-building roguelike where you'll fight monsters, find better loot, and level up your heroes as you work together to take down the Goddess of Fortune. The game features 6 wildly different playable classes, dozens of enemies, a catchy upbeat soundtrack, beautiful and adorable artwork, and since it's procedurally generated, you can play this endlessly. Now let's move on to the 7th title, and that's Griftlands. This is yet another deck-building roguelike where you negotiate, fight, steal, or otherwise persuade others to get your way. Every decision you end up making is an important one, be it the jobs you take, the friends you make, or the cards you collect. If you happen to be a fan of games like Slay the Spire, you should definitely check this one out. Think about it being like that game, but with more emphasis on the story. Decisions here go much further than just picking a card for your next battle. If you make the right choices, you may even be able to avoid a battle completely. Now let's take a look at something a bit different. This is Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus R. This is the re-release of an arcade classic that many people consider to be the pinnacle of the Guilty Gear series. Featuring a full cast of 25 characters, refined skills, polished strategies, multiple game modes, and ranked player match online modes. If you happen to be a fighting game fan, you can definitely find yourself getting lost in all the content at offer. And for those fighting game fans, I can confirm that the PC version of the game does offer rollback netcode. Now let's move on to Iron Conflict. It's an online competitive real-time strategy game that features both modern and World War II aircrafts and tanks. You'll have to make use of military tactics and choose from hundreds of different units to win on the ground and in the air. It's definitely worth checking out if you're into RTS games, but I should note that reviews do appear to be slightly mixed. Some people actually really enjoy the game, but others are referring to it feeling a bit dated. With that said, it is important to point out that the game is currently in early access. They plan on adding more combat unit types, more gameplay modes, a tutorial system, and possibly even adding a full-on single-player mode. Now we're moving on to game number 10, and that's Jurassic World Evolution. If you happen to pick this one up during the Epic Game Store holiday giveaway like I mentioned in a previous video, well congrats, you just got a free new game. You'll be able to place yourself at the heart of the Jurassic franchise and build your own Jurassic World. You'll get to bioengineer dinosaurs that think, feel, and react intelligently to the world around them and face threats posed by espionage, breakouts, and devastating tropical storms. All of this taking place in an uncertain world where life always finds a way. This title is perfectly suited for anyone who enjoys management simulation building games. Think Zoo Tycoon but with dinosaurs, but I also have to mention it's a very visually impressive game as well. So if you manage to score this one for free, do enjoy, and trust me, it's not the only free game that Epic Game Store gave away that's getting support this month. But for now, let's take a look at another game. This is Kathy Rain. Set in the 90s, Kathy Rain tells the story of a strong-willed journalism major who has come to terms with her own troubled past. She must investigate the mysterious death of her recently deceased grandfather. Armed with a motorcycle, a pack of cigs, and a notepad, Kathy begins to delve into a local mystery surrounding her hometown. A mystery that will take her on a harrowing journey full of emotional and personal turmoil. The game supports a 320 by 240 resolution for those crisp pixel art style graphics. Additionally, it boasts over 4,000 lines of dialogue, full English voice acting, an original soundtrack, 40 plus hand-drawn environments, and a very compelling narrative with an eerie plot. Now let's move on to the third game, and that's Metro 2033 Redux. This title was also available during the Epic Game Store holiday giveaway, so if you claimed it, enjoy. In 2013, the world was devastated by an apocalyptic event. It annihilated almost all mankind and turned the Earth's surface into a poisonous wasteland. A handful of survivors took refuge in the depths of the Moscow underground, and human civilization entered a new dark age. The year is 2033. This is the definitive version of the cult classic Metro 2033. It's a narrative-based first-person shooter that I really can't recommend enough. It offers a fantastic storyline and beautiful visuals to match. If you haven't played the series at all, I would highly recommend doing so. Now let's move to the next title, and that's Monster Sanctuary. It's described as monster taming meets Metroidvania. Collect, train, and battle monsters in a lovely side-view pixel world. You'll have to delve deep into the world of Monster Sanctuary to collect, evolve, and battle. The game features a total of 101 monsters, and you'll be battling it out in strategic combat. And just in case you're wondering, yes, the game does offer PvP online play. So you'll be able to take your battles against other real players around the world. Game number 14 being added to GeForce Now is Night in the Woods. It's an adventure game focused on exploration, story, and character, featuring dozens of characters to meet and lots to do across a lush, vibrant world. College dropout Mae Borowski returns home to the crumbling former mining town of Possum Springs. She seeks to resume her aimless former life and reconnect with the friends she left behind. But things aren't the same. Home seems different now and her friends have grown and changed. Leaves are falling and the wind is growing colder. Strange things are happening as the light fades, and there's something in the woods. This is the third game from the Epic Game Store holiday giveaway to get GeForce Now support, so if you claimed it, congrats. Now let's move on to Night of Full Moon. This is a standalone roguelike card game where you take the adventure into a black forest. Random events and random plots lead to different endings. The game features turn-based card battle combat, 7 classes, more than 600 cards to collect, 131 mysterious enemies, random events, and story options that affect your reputation and courage. I do want to let you all know that the game is translated into English, so there is some rough translation here and there, but overall it's a pretty good experience. Now we're gonna take a look at the next game, and that's Planetbase. You'll get to guide a group of space settlers trying to establish a base on a remote planet. Grow food, collect energy, mine resources, and survive disasters. Your ultimate goal is to build a self-sufficient colony in a harsh and unforgiving environment. The game features 4 different planets with different conditions and increasing difficulty. This is another base building management style game, so if you happen to be into space and like those style of games, perhaps give this one a look. Up next is game number 17, and that's Redout Space Assault. This arcade space battle is the perfect combination of a classic arcade game mixed with the trademark Redout adrenaline. You'll have to outsmart, outmaneuver, overpower, and outclass your opponents in this lightning-fast, adrenaline-inducing single-player space combat game. The title is slated to release on January 22nd. The game features a career mode, many exotic locations, deep gameplay, tons of weapons, ship customization, and a dynamic soundtrack. As a personal side note, I actually think this game looks pretty sick and I can't wait to check it out for myself. But now we move on to the next game, and that's Rift. In this epic adventure, you'll get to create your own perfect hero thanks to a uniquely customizable class system. Collect, craft, and customize that gear, and go for it alone or group up to challenge dungeons, raids, dynamic open world content, or fellow players. It's an open world MMO with both PvP and cooperative based content. It's an MMO that's been going on for quite some time, but it's nice to see some support for it arrive on GeForce Now. Now let's move on to game number 19, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World: The Game Complete Edition. This is a cult classic side-scrolling beat-em-up game developed by Ubisoft. Originally released back in 2010, the game was actually pulled from storefronts, but now is getting re-released on the 14th of January. It features both cooperative and solo play, and honestly speaking, as someone who played it when it first came out, I highly recommend it. The game features online this time around and also comes with all the DLC that ever released. If you happen to be subscribed to Ubisoft Plus, there's a very good chance you'll be able to access this game as a part of your subscription. Now let's move over to another game that was a part of the Epic Game Store holiday giveaway, and that's The Long Dark. This is a thoughtful exploration survival experience that challenges solo players to think about themselves as they explore an expansive frozen wilderness in the aftermath of a geomagnetic disaster. There are no zombies, only you, the cold, and all the threats that Mother Nature can muster. The game features both an episodic narrative but also a survival mode for those who prefer the sandbox style game. The survival mode is a pretty challenging experience. You'll have to deal with the condition of the cold as well as calories. As you scour the world for supplies, do expect some resistance from Mother Nature's friends. And yes, permadeath is a very real thing here. Now you can customize your experience through tuning within the options, so don't be too scared, you can make it a bit easier and more comfortable. Up next is Tower Unite. Play, create, party. Tower Unite is a community-based virtual world party game with online games, entertainment, activities, and absolutely no microtransactions. It comes from the creators of Gmod Tower and features over 22 unique arcade games with multiplayer support. You can create custom models and import them directly into the game with Steam Workshop, not to mention there are over 2,000 unique and interactive items. And yes, you can even create your own place. If you happen to play PlayStation Home when that was a thing on the PS3, well, this is pretty comparable in a sense. But now let's take a look at the next game, and that's Tropico 5. You'll get to return to the remote island nation of Tropico and expand your dynasty's reign from the early colonial period to beyond the 21st century, facing new challenges including advanced trading mechanics, technology, and scientific research, as well as cooperative and competitive multiplayer. This is another city builder simulation sandbox style game that is rightfully so one of the better ones out there. It's both a fun but challenging franchise that I'm sure many people out there will enjoy. The multiplayer allows for up to 4 other players to build up their own cities and economies and then choose whether or not to share resources. Or if you rather go against each other, then you can declare war. It's worth pointing out that this is the 5th and last game given away during the Epic Game Store holiday giveaway that's getting support for GeForce Now. And speaking of last, let's move on to the final title being added, and that's Warframe Epic Game Store version. This is a cooperative, free-to-play, third-person online action game in an evolving sci-fi world. It needs little to no introduction. Sitting at over 398,990 reviews on Steam, most of you are probably aware of what this game is. It's actually one of the prime examples of how to do free-to-play right, and I highly implore you checking it out if you're into the looter-shooter genre. It's a really fast-paced game and a lot of fun to play. But either way, that wraps up all the games currently confirmed coming to GeForce Now for the month of January. As I mentioned earlier, there's a chance that more games may be added to this list as developers or publishers opt into the service. That being said, it's already quite a big list. Now, if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful at all, be sure to hit that like button as it really does help the channel out, and if you're wanting more content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. Today's end of video question is simply going to be asking you what game on this list excites you most. For me, it has to be Jurassic World Evolution. I'm a sucker for these style of games and I'm a huge fan of the Jurassic World franchise. I look forward to reading your opinions down in the comments section below. As always, thank you for watching this video. This has been Generation Stadia, giving you that daily dose of everything and anything cloud gaming related. The Gen S community is over 7,700 strong and growing by the day, and until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.